Welcome back. We are talking about the emotional toll that our firefighters deal with as they risk their lives day in and day out. We're joined now by Tim Abadera, who is president of the Santa Rosa Firefighters, and Captain Frank Lido, deputy director of the NYFD, I should say, Counseling Service Unit. Also with us is Fire Captain Jacques Roy and WNBC news anchor David Ushery. Thank you guys for joining our panel. Let me start with you on this. Tim, you fought these infamous Tubbs fires out west in California that we just saw. You refer to something called the slow burn that a lot of firefighters suffer from. What is that?
So when you talk about behavioral health and emotional stress, it's very easy to look to big things like Jacques' story. We all know that there's going to be toll from that, and we put servicing behind that. But what we're learning more and more as we dig into this information is that it's not just the big things. It's the small things over time that build up. And because we haven't always had a culture of dealing with our behavioral health, those things accumulate like a backpack. And every call you go on, the trauma from that is a rock that goes in your backpack. Some are big, some are small. And if you don't take the time and have the skills to take those out of your backpack, eventually it's going to pull you to the ground.
But it's even, I wonder if you're even aware of the fact that what is regular to you or small to you, to the rest of us, would be incredibly traumatic. You know, you're out there in this toxic burn for days, risking your life, your health. I mean, do even you experience that as traumatic?
Not in the immediate. You know, it's only when you go back and you start to realize your sleep is disturbed, or you're having a hard time relating to other people, or, you know, things aren't right, where you go back and you start to examine why that is. And that's why, you know, pieces like the NBC affiliates have been doing and the survey are so important, is because it allows us to reach our members, you know, not just in the fire station, but now on TV, and where our families and our friends can know that this is an issue and where the resources are.
There's guys sitting at home right now, and gals, thinking, I'm the only one suffering. I'm the only one who's weak and can't shove these emotions down. And these guys are coming out to say, no. And the survey is there to back up. I mean, those numbers are overwhelming in terms of those who are suffering. Frank, let me ask you, because we saw this thing just last week in New York with the last week with the helicopter going down. We experiencing that as news consumers as a tragedy that we stop and mourn and then move on from. But there were firefighters who had to go and take care of the remains of those killed. And they're people. It has an effect on them.
And that happens every day in New York City. So every day there are incidents all around the city where you're dealing with pediatric deaths and car crashes and fires. And that takes its toll on our members.
Were you guys surprised to see the numbers in these surveys about how many people are suffering?
I wasn't surprised at all. And as a matter of fact, when we do presentations out there, we say 40% of firefighters have sleep disturbances, and they say, wait, that's way too low. You know, it's 70 or 80%. Almost every firefighter has difficulty sleeping, nightmares, intrusive images.
Wow. And so have you done anything to deal with it? I mean, are you just coming to awareness now that you are not alone?
Well, one of the biggest things that I do is I help, right? So I'm part of our peer support program. I'm a big champion for firefighter behavioral health. So being around, you know, people like Frank, who's one of the pioneers in this field, and learning and hearing stories and being able to relate and seeing, you know, my other brothers and sisters get the help that they need. But EMDR is a huge help, huge help. Because
you've got, I mean, 9 out of 10 firefighters are sitting there thinking it's a sign of weakness to come out, right? I mean, is that what you found, that like the mentality is you're weak if you admit it's bothering you?
Extraordinary high number. Weak, fear of losing out on promotion, fear of ostracism, in the 80s in that survey.
And so now what are they to do if they want help?
Well, the IAFF is certainly now organizing departments, and one of the reasons they wanted to team up with us on this story is to get the word out, because it will help municipalities when they're deciding budget allocations to kind of think of mental health as part of the overall program for their first responders. And that is key, because one other number, or a couple other numbers, Megan, were that a lot of firefighters didn't feel that their employee assistance programs were helping them at all.
At all. Yeah, I saw that in the data, like a big thumbs down on that. But there are other options, and you're not alone. And you guys are really courageous to come out and talk about it so openly and set the example. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for your courage.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you too, David. We'll be right back.